Hello, babes. Welcome back to the channel. If you are new, welcome. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about Rihanna's iconic Good Girl Gone Bad era. So let's get into it. Welcome to Iconically Iconic. Now, I've been a fan of Ree since Pon de Replay. I got both Music of the Sun and A Girl Like Me the day they released, and they are albums I listen to till this day. But for a lot of fans, it wasn't until her breakthrough album Good Girl Gone Bad that they had become fans of the iconic Rihanna. When Rihanna returned with her third album, she was completely different. It was clear she was reborn. She switched up her style and her music. Gone was the sweet girl next door, still humble of course, but in her place emerged bad gal Riri. She was liberated and done with the chains and restraints people had placed on her to be like her peers, and created a lane of her own. She finally had a say in her career, and it all started with her bold choice of chopping her hair and dyeing it jet black, inspired by Charlize Theron's character Aeon Flux. A decision that couldn't be taken back once done. She and her longtime hairstylist was nervous about the cut at first because it was the day before her album packaging, and a rep for Def Jam had been there to supervise what was being done to Rihanna's hair. As Rihanna's hairstylist Ursula Stevens had explained, because after all, image is very important in the industry, and breaking away from what was safe could be risky.
It was just basically, I took the attitude of a bad girl and like really got rebellious and just did everything the way I wanted to do it. I didn't want to listen to anybody. I didn't consult with anybody. I just wanted to have a little more fun with my music and be a little more experimental in terms of my image and my sound and everything, just reinventing myself.
But it was one of the best decisions she could have made. She went through a metamorphosis from a caterpillar to a butterfly. Her light sandy blonde hair was a reflection of her youth, innocence, and charm, and who she was as a child, because that was her natural hair color. But that asymmetrical jet black bob she debuted in 2007, that was a whole new Rihanna, a more mature, edgy Rihanna, sure of herself and breaking the sweet girl next door mold to become an iconic pop star. In a 2007 interview for Paper Magazine, Rihanna told the interviewer about her new look, quote, "It really represents my liberation, how I wanted to do everything my way," she says. "I was tired of people forcing me to be a certain image." Now, this wasn't the first time Rihanna had sported a bob. She had first worn a bob in 2006, but dark brown, and again at her first Grammy appearance at the 2007 Grammy Awards. However, it wasn't until a few months later when she dyed her hair jet black and wore the asymmetrical bob in her iconic Umbrella video, the first single off of the album that had truly captured the world's attention. The moment she appeared in that video, everyone was talking, and soon enough, women everywhere were running to the salons demanding the Rihanna bob. Umbrella was a genre-bending anthem that effortlessly fused pop, R&B, rap, and rock. The song shot up on the charts instantly. Rihanna was everywhere. You couldn't step into a hair salon without seeing pictures of her bob for clients to get the same hairstyle. This was the dawn of her becoming a trendsetter. Everything Rihanna touched from this point on would become a trend. From haircuts, hair and nail colors to tattoos. We all remember all of the girls getting the shush tattoo and the love on the middle finger. She wasn't just another artist in the industry. She was a force of nature, creating waves that others couldn't help to follow. You couldn't go anywhere without hearing Umbrella. It was inescapable, topping the Billboard charts in 13 countries. It reigned supreme in the UK for 10 consecutive weeks, the longest run since Wet Wet Wet's Love Is All Around in 1994. It became one of Rihanna's first singles to be named one of the best-selling singles worldwide with over 8 million copies sold. Rihanna would perform this song at multiple award shows and talk shows, swirling umbrellas on the stage, decked out in metallics, tutus, and latex, and her bob became as much a signature as the song itself, wearing it in multiple ways, morphing from sleek black to different color highlights or just a few shrieks like pink, blue, red, blonde, and sometimes a mixture of colors. She experimented with different versions, cutting it shorter, adding bangs, all while accessorizing with bamboo earrings from the 80s and 90s. Rihanna was serving pop rock with a mix of hip hop. It was clear our girl was a rock star. That sentiment would later be affirmed in her 2009 hit Rockstar 101. The follow-up single would be Shut Up and Drive. Now shut up and drive. By this time, Rihanna was in full form, showcasing her sexy side, and was clearly inspired by Fast and Furious franchise for this video. Now, I'll be honest, this is a song that I used to get annoyed by because it had its moments of overexposure, thanks to America's Next Top Model using it for their promo, and it would play multiple times a day. Let me know below if you guys remember that commercial. But it was just proof of how ubiquitous Rihanna was during this era. Her presence was undeniable, and so was her influence. Rihanna was solidifying herself as a pop icon. She was unpredictable. No one knew what she would do next when it came to her hair, style, or music. And that intrigued people, not only because she wasn't just your average pop girl, but because she was a black artist who refused to be put in a box when it came to music and self-expression. Oftentimes, black artists are told to choose one and they can only be in this lane, especially back in the early 2000s. You were automatically put in an R&B box, and if you went outside of that box, people would ignorantly question your blackness and say you were trying to be white because you didn't want to do just R&B or look just one way. But Rihanna came along and said, don't label me, and to keep your boxes for yourself.
Younger, one thing about me, I didn't care to have the group of friends. I didn't care to be the most popular girl in school. I mean, I was fine with being on my own. You know, friends is always great. Company, I love company. But if it's silly, if it's a silly crowd, I don't care to be part of it. I always felt like I was a leader. I had to do what I felt was perfect for me. Like, I didn't do it because it looked cool to somebody else. I think that's a little Play-Doh, and I've always had that attitude, even from a little girl. I wanted to do everything my way, you know, and it's kind of like a bad girl attitude. I got a little rebellious, I got a little attitude, and the sound of the album is really, really edgy, and I felt like the title matched my personality now, the way I approached the album and the sound of the album.
She was everywhere, proving to everyone she was here to stay. This was more than just a pop phase. It was Rihanna carving out her space, putting in the work and hours, shutting down naysayers who thought she would fade into obscurity like many singers before her who didn't really have an identity of their own and relied on the pop girl handbook and following the blueprint of the icons and legends before them. She was determined to be her own person. She didn't want to be the next anybody. She wanted to be Rihanna and Rihanna only, and was doing it her way, with a work ethic that was undeniable. And of course, she was inspired by previous artists and icons and would speak highly of them. But she wanted to be herself, and she wasn't cocky or full of herself. However, she was very confident. She understood she had to pay her dues, as all of the greats before her did. Her persistence to grind passion, and it girl factor allowed her to propel. Rihanna was unstoppable, even securing herself a Gucci campaign. While many of her peers had become complacent, she didn't want that for herself because she always knew she was different and confident in herself, which is extremely important, especially in a business that doesn't treat you like a human but like a product and disregards your feelings from both the industry and the public. Rihanna would receive vocal lessons from Ne-Yo during the recording of her Good Girl Gone Bad album, which was a first for her because she hadn't had any lessons prior to that, which helped to improve her skill. Which brings us to the third single, Hate That I Love You, featuring Ne-Yo, who also penned the song. It reached number 15 on the UK singles chart and number 7 on the US Billboard Hot 100 chart. Hate That I Love You was certified platinum by the RIAA, selling over 1 million copies. And you can definitely hear Ne-Yo's singing style when Rihanna sings on this song. But I want to talk a little bit about some of my favorite songs from this album, which are Sell Me Candy, Let Me Get That, Breaking Dishes, Good Girl Gone Bad, and Push Up On Me. Now, this album is a banger from beginning to end. And then we got the Reloaded album with If I Never See Your Face Again featuring Maroon 5, also a favorite of mine. Love this song so much. If I never see your face again, I don't mind. Sell Me Candy was written and produced by both The Dream and Timbaland. It was the perfect summer song, and it just reminds me so much of the 2000s, but also the turning point for music in the 2000s. It was giving a taste of what Rihanna would be doing later on when it came to music and experimenting with different sounds and genres. Breaking Dishes is a song that I loved from the moment I heard the album. You can feel the 80s influence. It was the perfect blend of R&B and rock. And I wanted a video to this song so bad, but I do think the song was ahead of its time and people weren't really ready for this song. It got a lot of mixed reviews, but yeah. These songs are what made her album stand out. They didn't sound like anything else on the radio at that time, and it was refreshing. Then add on Rhee's new image, and you had the perfect packaging. Rihanna's Good Girl Gone Bad album sold 162,000 copies in its first week and was certified 6 times platinum by the RIAA, selling 6 million copies in the US alone, and still till this day her best-selling album in the States. It peaked number 2 on the Billboard 200 charts and number 3 on the top R&B and hip-hop albums chart. Rihanna was nominated for 7 Grammys at the 2008 Grammy Awards and would snag her first Grammy for Best Rap Song Collaboration for Umbrella.
Rihanna featuring Jay-Z for Umbrella! Dad, I know I promised you I'm gonna give you my first Grammy, but we might have to fight for this one.
Rihanna's Good Girl Gone Bad era was such a breath of fresh air, and though she wasn't a new artist, her reinvention was so striking, it felt like she was a brand new artist. Although she already had made a name for herself, this chapter in her career marked a powerful shift that separated her from the pack. It wasn't just about music, it was about everything. She formed relationships with designers like Zac Posen, Christian Dior, and Dolce & Gabbana, who helped her revamp into her new glam rock image. The previous team she had worked with, she would get rid of, which was the best decision she could have made because the previous ones didn't get that she wanted to upgrade her image. She wanted to show who the real Rihanna was and not an image that was placed on her. In her own words from a 2007 Paper magazine interview, when asked if one of the downfalls of being famous is having people tell you what to do, Rihanna made it clear, a lot of people don't get to tell me. They always say, I know you're going to do what you want to do, but I'm telling you what my concerns are. And though she would listen to her team when their concerns were genuine, she refused to be a puppet. She was a rebel, but she wasn't rebelling for the sake of it. She was asserting her creative autonomy. She was deeply involved creatively in every aspect of this album and didn't want to leave anything to anyone anymore because she had found freedom in being true to herself and being the artist she really wanted to be. Something that a lot of artists can learn from. Being who you are authentically. Today, many artists seem more focused on fame and attention than the art itself or following people that they looked up to. Rihanna embodied the opposite and did not follow the industry's formula. Back then, you had to prove yourself. It wasn't about streaming numbers because streaming didn't exist, bot-driven hype, or overnight stardom. A lot of artists today don't have love for the music. They have love for the attention and fame by any means necessary and don't want to put in the hard work it takes to be an artist, but just want praise and love. There weren't streaming parties. Fans actually stood in line eagerly to purchase albums at places like Circuit City, Radio Shack, Sam Goody, and local music stores. Success was earned through genuine talent and hard work back then, not social media stunts and fleeting attention. Rihanna's rise during this era was real because she had put in the work. She had the real it factor and she wasn't going anywhere whether people liked it or not.
When you first came in the industry, people attached Jay-Z's name and Def Jam's name to your career. Now you're breaking out. How does it feel for you as an artist?
Very liberating. I feel great. I feel wonderful, especially the nominations that I have, very special to me.
Okay.
Female Artist of the Year, Video of the Year, Monster Single of the Year, they're big categories, tough categories too.
But you're here.
So.
What made Rihanna stand out was her ability to embody artistry. This album was a testament to her growth. Rihanna proved she was an artist who was actually the very definition of an artist. And not just another artist who would have a few hits, some appearances here and there, and then fade away. All of that doubt went out the window, and she was now the artist who new artists would get inspiration from on how to truly stand out. She wasn't just breaking the rules, she was writing her own. She cut her hair again, but this time into a pixie cut. Once again, people would begin cutting their hair into pixie cuts. And I think Rihanna cut her hair into a pixie cut because she was tired of seeing everyone copy off of her bob, but she was a natural trendsetter and she looked absolutely stunning in her Rehab and Take a Bow video. She was feminine and confident in who she was. And with that being said, this video has come to an end. Don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe. Also, make sure your notification bells are turned on so that you always know when I upload. And I will catch you guys in the next one.